Welcome. Topic is function memoization. So what is memoization? Memoization is a technique for speeding up function calls by caching and reusing the output. That is, the function is when when function is executed for a set of input values, and for each time when it is executes and it caches the results based on the input value. So when input value is repeated and it checks whether it is exist in that cache memory or not. If it is exist, it returns as output of that function. Otherwise it's recompute for that input value. So this is called a memoization. So we can make one function memoized so that it implements and so that it speed up the function calls. So let's see that how it is implemented in Kotlin. So here it is. I will memoize the one function. So I'll define a function called memoize. It memoize the function, any function which take one argument, say p and q, and returns a value, and that type can be anything. It is generalizing for all the functions which has one argument. It returns the function. That function is memoized of that function. The same function with caching logic. The same function, when you pass a value to that, it cache it and then returns the value. If it is exist in the cache, it returns from the cache. Otherwise it execute that function, this function which is you are passing here. So that we are going to do now. So we'll create one cache, store it in a map to threads safe, and the key type is p and value type is q. It should return memoized function, that is, checks whether it is in cache. If it is in cache, it returns. If it is not in cache, execute this function and return the value as the output of the function. So I'm passing a value to the function, and it should cache it. It check in cache whether it exists or not. So I'll get put r put. So get r put method, what it does is it checks in the map with the key value. If it exists, it returns, it gets from the map and return as a output of this function. Otherwise it execute that function with that input as a value. So this is the caching technique. Now I can pass any function to this, and one is square root function. The function is very simple function I am taking as an example, and the square root function, it takes a value and returns the square root of that value. Okay, square root of that, and that is it. And this function, I pass a value and returns the square root of that. So I will memoize this one. written first. So now I'll execute this function with the different values. So when pass the same value, it gets from the cache. And if we pass the same value, it gets from the cache. And for to demonstrate that, I'll just add a print statement here. So that new input. Looks first time it executes that function, it returns, and second time onwards it's written from the cache. And I give a new value to this, and it gets again through, execute that function and returns the value. Now I will fine tune this more. I will fine tune this like this. Instead of passing the function as a argument to the memoize, I'll just like this. It returns memoized function like this. So I am generalizing for any function, and we can call memoized so that it returns the memoized function. For that function, it is for a function which takes single argument. So argument type is p and return type is q, and I will extend the I will add a method to this interface, and so any function type, it actually implements the interface, functional interface. So when we add a method to that, it is available, this method is available on that function. We can call a method on that function. So this is the functional interface, and I am adding extension method memoized, and it returns the same memoized function. And same thing is here, I'm copying here. And that functional interface has got methods, so I'm just doing this. Now any function can be just memoized and then do that, and then if you can execute this, it gives the same result. First one is first time it calls, and second time it get from the cache, and this. And this method, this memoized method, can be called on any function which takes one argument, say string reverse function, but that it takes as a string, written as string, and then so it dot reversed. So I can just call that string reverse function memoized. I'll get memoized function by calling that function memoized. Right, so I can now So it returns reverse of the function, this one. So when I execute again and it doesn't return that, and it is get from the cache. When I give a different string, and that execute then. So this is what about the memoization. So memoization is for caching technique. Thank you.